Hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Phil and I'm a senior lecturer in astrophysics at the University of Lincoln. And with this video, what I want to do is kind of recap what galaxies are, recap what clusters are, and then look at the different types of clusters that we can actually have. More specifically, we can put them into two categories. We can have regular clusters of galaxies and we can have irregular clusters of galaxies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recap galaxies, then recap what a galaxy cluster is before we move on to regular and irregular. So if you've come across this video without seeing the other ones, then obviously I'm going to recap what they are. If you kind of already know that, then kind of go towards the back end of the video where I'm going to explain what the regular and irregular types of clusters actually are. So if you're not familiar with what galaxies are, these are enormous objects. They are comprised of stars, gas, dust and dark matter, and they're gravitationally bound. So some of these are rotating like disks, some of these are more spherical, all depend on the internal dynamics. They can vary in size, shape and composition. So whilst they're made of stars, gas, dust and dark matter, they can have different ratios of that. Some can have very little gas, some can have more stars, can have older stars, and it all depends on the type of galaxy that it actually is. So the Hubble kind of tuning fork diagram here is, if you're studying about galaxies, you'll definitely come across this basically. So just to recap this, or introduce it if you haven't come across it before actually. So this is the kind of tuning fork for the Hubble galaxy classification. And on the right hand side there, we have kind of the two forks, which are the spiral galaxies. So along the top, you have your spiral disk-like galaxies. They have a more spherical central bulge in them. Along the bottom, you've got your barred spirals, which the Milky Way is. And sometimes in between, you have an intermediate one where they don't really have a strong bar. It's like a weak bar, but they're also not a kind of spherical bulge either. And what happens here is, as they age and evolve, they actually go from right to left and they move towards the elliptical side. Their spiral arms get more tightly wound. They lose their gas content because it gets turned into stars. And they basically get kind of redder as well because they have an older population of stars in there because their stars start to age. Now on the left hand side, we have our elliptical galaxies. These are more spherical. They're classified on their shape alone mostly, so they can be like spherical, they can be more elliptical in shapes. They go from like E0 to E7. They don't have spiral arms, they're more smoother in appearance, older, redder stars, and they have very little gas content, and they don't typically have rotation. Now they do rotate, but they're not rotation supported, they're more pressure supported, so the stars are moving more randomly inside them. So key differences there basically. Now, most galaxies in the universe, they're not isolated, so they're not just there in the universe on their own. They typically kind of cluster and group together in these kind of associations, really. So they're typically in with other galaxies, close to other galaxies, and this is an example here, basically. So you've got a nice kind of cluster here, and all of these are different types of galaxy. Now, depending on the type of cluster group, size, age of this particular collection of galaxies, that will determine the ratio of the type of galaxy that's actually in there. So you might have more disk-like galaxies in one, maybe more elliptical galaxies in another. So it all depends really where it is, how big it is and things like that. But that's an example of one there. Now we can characterize these into groups or clusters basically. And what's the difference? Well, the main difference is essentially the number of members of them, really. There's a few things actually that can classify it as a group and a cluster, but the main ones really is kind of like how many member galaxies there are. So number of galaxies within this kind of collection, the size of the spatial distribution, like what sort of area is it covering, their internal dynamics as well, so how fast are the galaxies moving relative to one another, velocity dispersion, and also the total mass, which obviously is going to relate to the number of galaxies and its size as well. So for a group, you would typically find that they would have less than 50 galaxies in, so less than 50 members, and we would typically call that a group. More than 50, it would be a cluster, and they can have up to thousands of galaxies in these larger clusters. Size-wise, your groups are typically below 1 megaparsec in size, and the clusters are going to be greater than 1 megaparsec. So again, it kind of makes sense. You've got more galaxies, it's going to be bigger in size as well. Internal dynamics. So this is where the galaxies are kind of moving randomly relative to one another or within the group, depending what reference point you use. We would call that velocity dispersion, because if the galaxies were all moving exactly the same in the same direction, they would have very little dispersion. But if they're moving randomly, then we call this velocity dispersion. And if we plot like a really simple graph here, where you've got the galaxy group or cluster mass along the x-axis along the bottom, we've then got the velocity dispersion on the y-axis. What we find is that the lower mass associations, groups, are going to have lower dispersions. So typically less than 500 kilometers per second. That kind of makes sense. You've got less mass there, so they're going to actually be moving a little bit slower. And then the clusters are going to be greater than 500. So they can be like between 500 and 2,000 kilometers per second. And obviously that scales with the mass as well. So more massive clusters are going to have greater velocity dispersion. So we've kind of defined what clusters are, and now we're going to look at two other subcategories of cluster actually. And one of those is regular and the other is irregular. So the coma cluster is an example of a regular one. And so in the background here, you can actually see the coma cluster. That's an image of one, and that would be classified as regular. We've then got the Virgo cluster, and this is classified as irregular. So what are the main differences between regular and irregular? Well, regular clusters, they typically have circular symmetry. So in the center, they might be kind of quite center focused as well. I mean, this is quite, I've just illustrated this, but this would be done, a lot more technical than this, but they would have some kind of circular symmetry in their distribution. So that makes them kind of regular, makes sense with the name regular. There's no kind of important substructures there. So in some clusters, you may have streams of galaxies that are interacting, or there's some kind of merging flow. So there's none of that sort of structure there in regular clusters, or not any defining dominant structures like that. They're quite kind of smooth in their distribution with this circular symmetry. Now, irregular clusters, they lack symmetry. So they don't have that circular symmetry. They're a bit more asymmetric in the way that they're distributed, and they're a bit more chaotic. So you may find that there's kind of like subgroups, subclusters within the main larger cluster. So again, we haven't got symmetry there. It's a bit more chaotic in the way that those galaxies are distributed within. Regular clusters also, they would typically contain more elliptical galaxies. So those are the more spherical galaxies, the ones that have little gas content, and the ones that they have lower rotation rates, basically very little rotation. They're more pressure supported, so the stars within are more randomly moving. So regular clusters, typically more of these elliptical type galaxies or early type galaxies. Your irregular clusters, these typically have more spiral galaxies, so more disk-like galaxies. These have younger stars in, more gas content, they're rotating like a disk. So irregular clusters, more dominant in spirals, regular are more dominant in the elliptical galaxies. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, if we've got more elliptical galaxies in a cluster, in these regular clusters, it means they're probably going to be older. And these are typically older, stable systems. They've kind of reached some kind of equilibrium motion-wise between the galaxies. So they have isotropic random motions. What does that mean? Well, it means that the galaxies within their random motions is even in all directions. So whilst it's random, their velocities are all kind of all over the place. If you kind of average it all out, then it's the same in all directions, basically. That's what it means by isotropic. Whereas irregular clusters, these are younger systems. They also have a lot more merging galaxies within, so they haven't necessarily dynamically settled down yet. They're still undergoing mergers, and they can also have some kind of directional flows in there. So they could be like a flow of galaxies that are undergoing some kind of merger. Again, the random motions or the motions of the galaxies within is not isotropic. There is some kind of directional flow in there, unlike the other version. So thank you for watching. If you enjoy the videos, then do consider becoming a member of the channel. There's extra videos in the member section.